Okay, so coffee, we grab it almost, well, without thinking now, don't we?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
that quick fuel up for the commute, the necessary ritual before you have to talk to anyone.
Definitely.
It's just everywhere. Offices, corner stores, your kitchen, probably the planet's favorite drink,
It
right?
really is hard to imagine life without it. But rewind maybe 400 years to the 1600s
Okay.
in Europe and also in the expanding Ottoman Empire.
Mm.
That same dark, steaming cup, it was met with, well, genuine suspicion, even panic, religious panic, and actual government bans.
That's just wild. That contrast is really the core of what we're digging into today with our sources.
Exactly.
So this deep dive, our mission is to explore those first whispers about where coffee even came from, these sort of mysterious origins,
Right.
figure out the specific reasons it got tagged as the devil's drink, and then, this is key, track how it went from being something you could be killed for
Yeah, seriously punished.
to becoming the fuel for these huge cultural and commercial revolutions.
It really was like a cultural lightning rod. And the funny thing is, it often wasn't really about the taste causing the panic.
Oh.
It was about what the drink did to people, and maybe even more importantly, where they were gathering to drink it.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Hmm.
Why was this rich, bitter liquid such a dangerous threat? We probably need to start at the beginning with the mystery of its birth.
Right. Let's travel first to Ethiopia. That's where the historical accounts give us that famous, almost legendary story of Kaldi.
Ah, the goat herd. I've heard this one.
Yeah, Kaldi the goat herd. He supposedly noticed his animals got unusually energetic. The sources say they were practically dancing
Dancing goats. Love it.
after eating these bright red berries off a certain bush.
That's such a perfect origin story, isn't it?
Mhm.
Animal excitement leads to human discovery.
It is. And after Kaldi, the first sort of documented use seems to move pretty quickly into the religious sphere. Monks got curious about this energy boost. And they eventually figured out, how to roast the beans, brew them, mainly so they could stay awake during what the texts describe as long prayers.
Right, so it starts as a tool for, spiritual focus.
Yeah.
Endurance.
Exactly. A way to enhance piety, essentially. But it didn't stay confined to the monasteries for long.
No.
By the 15th century, it just exploded across the Islamic world, became really central to big cosmopolitan hubs like Mecca, Cairo, Istanbul.
And this fast spread, this is where the spiritual tool suddenly becomes a bit of a social and maybe political headache.
Precisely. Because these first places, the early coffee houses, they weren't quiet little meditation spots.
Huh? No, I bet not.
The descriptions we have call them lively centers of culture. They even get nicknames like schools of the wise.
Schools of the wise. Okay, tell me more. What was going on in there?
Well, they were loud, bustling, kind of democratic spaces, really. Accounts mention music, games, poetry, storytelling. And this is crucial, heated debates.
Ah, okay. Heated debates. That sounds like where the trouble might start.
That's the crux of it. The energy, the wakefulness, the fact that it encouraged people to talk for hours, soberly.
Right, soberly, not like a tavern.
Exactly. That level of people getting together, that intellectual buzz, it made a lot of authorities very, very nervous.
That's the deep irony then, isn't it? Same thing helping monks pray is now seen as helping people maybe plot.
You got it. The problem wasn't the bean itself. It was the gathering, the conversation it fueled.
Okay.
And that takes us straight into the, let's say, 4 main reasons coffee was so feared and condemned as it moved around the world.
All right, let's tick them off. Where did the earliest bans really take hold? You mentioned religious condemnation.
Yes, starting in Mecca, early 1500s, conservative religious leaders there got worried. They felt coffee caused a kind of intoxication similar to alcohol.
Even though it's a stimulant, not a depressant?
Right. It wasn't about stumbling around drunk. The fear was that it altered the mind, stirred passions, and just generally encouraged sinful behavior by keeping people awake, alert, and interacting late into the night. It was the perceived moral slipperiness.
Was there any actual proof of this in the sources? Like, did coffee drinkers suddenly start committing more crimes, or was it mostly paranoia about something new?
It really seems like it was more about control and resisting change. The records don't show much evidence linking coffee directly to, moral collapse or crime waves.
Okay.
But just the perception that it was this passion-inducing drug, that was enough for bans. And this moral concern then very quickly bled into pure political panic, which became much more dangerous, especially in the Ottoman Empire.
Okay, so it shifts from worrying about souls to worrying about stability. How did the Ottoman rulers see these coffee houses?
As direct threats. They called them hotbeds of sedition.
Strong words.
Because it was true, in a way. In these relaxed, sometimes anonymous places, people did gather, they shared ideas, sometimes sensitive ones, and yeah, according to the sources, sometimes they plotted against rulers.
And the punishment matched that level of fear.
Oh, absolutely. The sources are clear. Sultan Murad IV, he made drinking coffee a capital offense, literally punishable by death.
Wow. Executed for having a cup of coffee. That really shows the power they thought these gatherings held. An incredible overreach fueled by paranoia.
It really demonstrates how much authoritarian regimes fear citizens simply getting together and talking. But this suspicion wasn't just in the Islamic world. When coffee finally trickled into Europe through Venice, late 1500s, Christian leaders were just as wary, but maybe for different reasons initially.
Okay, what was the European angle?
More cultural at first. The sources say Christians were just deeply suspicious of this dark, bitter drink from Muslim lands.
The otherness factor.
Exactly. It was linked to a foreign, non-Christian culture. So some clergy jumped on that, calling it, wait for it, the devil's drink.
There it is. They wanted it banned just because of where it came from.
Pretty much. For reasons of, like, cultural purity or segregation. The irony, of course, is Europe had massive problems with alcohol abuse.
Right. Taverns weren't exactly centers of calm debate.
Not at all, but they feared this sober stimulant. The cultural bias against its origins was, for a time, stronger than any appreciation for the alertness it brought.
Okay, so this is where coffee almost hits a dead end in Europe until the Pope gets involved. Clement VIII, around 1600.
Yes. This is a fantastic turning point in the sources. Clergy were pushing him hard. Condemn it. Ban it.
Pressure was on.
Huge pressure. He was expected to just follow their lead.
Yeah.
But the story goes, and it's a great story, before condemning it, he insisted on tasting it himself.
The Pope tastes the devil's drink. You couldn't write it better. Okay, what happened? This changes everything, right?
Completely. He tastes it, and apparently he's totally charmed. Loved the flavor, the aroma. He reportedly declared, and this line echoes through the accounts, "This drink is so delicious that it would be a sin to let only infidels enjoy it."
Huh. That's brilliant. Politically brilliant, too.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting an unpopular ban, he just adopts it, neutralizes the threat.
He essentially baptized it, yeah.
Hey.
Made it okay for Christians. That single move just dissolved so much of the religious opposition across Europe almost overnight.
Amazing. But that wasn't quite the end of the opposition, was it? There was still one more hurdle.
One last wave, yeah. This time driven by medical fears. Even after the Pope gave his okay, some early doctors started raising alarms.
What were they claiming?
All sorts of things. Warnings that coffee could cause sterility, madness, even death.
Sterility and madness, okay. And these fears often seem to target men specifically, didn't they? There's that amazing detail from 1674, the Women's Petition Against Coffee in London.
Oh, it's a fantastic document, a real snapshot of the panic.
What did it say again?
It claimed coffee made men, and I quote, "as unfruitful as the deserts from where that unhappy berry is said to be brought."
Wow. So the worry wasn't just general health. It was tied to, like, reproductive health, masculinity, linking the foreignness of the drink to weakness.
Exactly. A very poetic way to complain about your husband spending too much time at the coffee house, perhaps.
Huh. Maybe so. But here's the thing. Despite the bans, the death penalties, the warnings about going mad or, becoming unfruitful,
Yeah.
coffee just kept spreading, didn't it? Like wildfire.
It absolutely did, because fundamentally it offered something crucial. A sober alternative to the pub or tavern culture dominating cities.
Right.
The productivity it enabled was just too valuable to suppress for long. London alone, by the late 1600s, had hundreds of coffee houses, and they quickly got that famous nickname.
The penny universities.
That's the one.
Okay, that nickname, Penny University, feels really important for understanding the cultural shift. Why that name specifically?
Because it was literally true, in a sense. For the price of a single cup, 1 penny, anyone could walk into a warm, well-lit place.
Unlike maybe a freezing apartment back then.
Right. And you could join these high-level intellectual debates. You could hear the latest news often read aloud from newsletters or official papers.
It's like a primitive internet cafe.
Sort of. And crucially, you could even start a business. Think about it. Compared to the often drunken chaos of a tavern, the coffee house was sober, it was reliable, it was intellectually stimulating.
So it wasn't just the caffeine buzz, it was the environment it created. A sober space facilitating trust, networking, especially for the rising merchant class.
Absolutely. Perfect breeding ground for financial innovation. People weren't just swapping ideas, they were swapping money, credit, crucial shipping information, the absolute lifeblood of a commercial revolution.
And the sobriety was key to that trust.
Totally. The regularity of meeting there, the clear-headedness, the free flow of information, it made them essential social infrastructure.
And we have actual, concrete examples of major institutions starting in these places, ones that basically changed global finance.
We do. The sources give us some really powerful ones. We know, for instance, that the London Stock Exchange, a pillar of global finance today.
Yeah.
Its earliest roots grew directly out of Jonathan's coffee house. It literally started with people just meeting there informally to trade stock shares and notes.
Just incredible. And there's another huge one, right, related to insurance.
Lloyd's of London. The world-famous insurance market, still underwriting massive global risks today.
Yeah.
It started in Edward Lloyd's coffee house. That place was popular with sea captains, merchants, ship owners. They used that stable, sober environment to build trust and figure out how to insure risky sea voyages.
That journey is just, it's profound, isn't it? Coffee goes from being this feared substance,
Yeah, the devil's drink.
a tool for sin and rebellion, punishable by death, to literally becoming the engine of modern commerce and culture.
It powered the Enlightenment, they say. Sped up global trade. It was the meeting place for revolutions of the mind, revolutions in the market.
It's such a clear example of, like, a societal need for productivity, for connection, just overpowering political resistance because it worked.
It did. It changed how people thought, how they traded, how they connected on a scale that just wasn't possible before.
So wrapping this up, what does all this mean for us today, sipping our lattes?
Well, it means that simple morning habit, the one we barely think about, it has this incredibly subversive, deeply transformative past.
Right. That dark drink was at different times seen as the enemy of God, the enemy of the state, even the enemy of masculinity.
Yet it won out. It basically forced the world to adapt to a new kind of productive energy, a kind of sobriety that became intertwined with the modern economy. It's hard to think of an industry or field of thought that hasn't been touched or sped up by caffeine. The source material really nails that irony.
It really does. The story of coffee kind of reminds us, maybe, to question the things we currently fear or condemn. Because sometimes adopting something new, even if it seems foreign or scary,
Yeah.
it can unlock amazing potential. Our deep dive really ends on that thought, doesn't it? The story of coffee is a reminder. What we fear today might just become tomorrow's necessity.
Sometimes.
Uh.
Devil's drink. Well, it becomes humanity's favorite cure for sleep.